make her say or go.
I don't read. This is the new X banking card I got in the mail the other day. I hope you like this opening video.
To now come up with a solution
Show you what it's like.
But originally that's not what she was doing.
So, brother, let me ask you this: in your personal studies, when you read research studies, do you actually dive into the numbers?
Into everything.
Okay. Well, literally, you just told me that I was picking and choosing. Because the only thing I said was we need to dive into the numbers to figure out why they are the way they are.
No, because before
John Kitover.
you literally said
John Kitover on X.
we are victims.
Woo! You know what you do with this thing? You can chop up cell phones with it. Chop things up with it. So I don't do that, you know. Hello? X.
But then another thing you said was that we pick and choose our information. And all she did was really statistic based on the claims that she made before to emphasize on her previous points. And then when you guys
She never made the claim before. This was the first one she pulled up about the medical field.
Conversation. She was talking about even then she was talking about when she goes to the hospitals. She asks us about what's going on and is everything about this.
Right, but right. That's her saying what she would do if she went into a hospital. This was the first time she brought up a study. So when I'm saying we need to dive into the study to figure out why they are the way they are.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
She jumped in and said, and when she jumped in, respectfully, just like she just did, and then you came off the mic, then that's when I said, man, we some fucking victims. Because everything is always about, bro, this shit is like Jasmine Crockett all over again. Everything is about racism. There's no ownership on people to do what they need to do to secure themselves. Everything is about racism. So what does that mean? That means you literally have no control over your life and the outcomes that you have. It's always somebody else's fault.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. One second. So that's not what I'm saying. So what I'm saying, what you just said, I totally agree with you, right? But there's a baseline. You're saying that basically, in this particular case, the study that I had listed, this was, I explained that this was all through, it was the study of the documents. So this wasn't an active, it was a retrospective study. So they looked at the documents that had already been documented from the hospitals. They looked at 250,000 emergency room visits, okay? And it wasn't, basically my point is it's not it wasn't randomized, right? It wasn't like some experiment. This was looking at the information of what is provided, right? And you could say, the things that we can't say 100% is, this is racism, right? Because I wouldn't be able to prove that. A person who's 100% absolute racist, but doesn't come out and say, I'm racist, it's impossible to prove, right? There's some other argumentation that you could always make, right? So we can say, if you don't want to say that it's racist, you absolutely can't say that it's not racially prejudiced. And there's obviously a pattern here that is not just slightly significant, highly significant. So if you want to look into why, right, that basically what they did is they looked at the patients came in, what was their first initial complaint? This was documented. They read the complaint, right? They read whatever the complaint was. Then they looked at what their scores, what the nurses gave them for their scores. And then they looked at what they eventually were diagnosed with, or whether they had more intensive subsequent workups after that. And what they saw was that for the same exact outcome, subsequent workouts, so the workups afterwards, everything that led to, right, whether it was a heart attack, whether it was a blood clot, whatever it is, that the Black Americans, that they received less intense scores because they weren't trusted. There was, and how, that's not me, that's not my opinion, that's just what the study says, right? They weren't trusting the credibility of Black Americans at this high. So you want to make up your reason, people want to make up Sure, let insurance, Beaver said, whatever. Go ahead and make your explanation. But guess what? It's not going to change the fact that it's still happening, right? We have to figure out how to stop it. And your ultimate, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, which was frustrating, because you're like, we are responsible for, yeah, of course we're responsible. But in this particular case, you're saying that Black Americans have to be more responsible and more vigilant than white, Hispanic, and Asians in America. They have to be, right, but I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying, I'm pointing out, I'm saying, that's not a society I want to live in. I want to live in a society where everybody's comfortable. That's my point.
Okay, now, I'm glad you said you was frustrated. Now, you just said that you want to live in a society where everybody is comfortable. Now, would I be biased or racially profiling you when I hear you say something like that, and then you read a study, and the outcome that the study says, and you automatically jump on that size of what you're saying? Am I racially profiling you or being biased towards you because you revealed your bias in this sense?
I'm not understanding the question.
All right, don't worry about it. Let's go to something different. Now,
it didn't make sense to me, so
it's okay. The results of that test said that they were less trusting, right?
That the nurses that gave them their initial, yes, that they believed that they had less, that Black Americans had less credibility in explaining their symptoms, like their pain threshold, how or what they were experiencing.
Can you put the study in the chat so they watch it?
So we talking about when they say, how does it make you feel? They give you like a scale of 1 to 10, and they say like 7. You're like, nah, I don't fuck with you. I don't think you're telling the truth. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically, they're saying someone comes in and says, oh, I'm getting this really bad pain and it's sharp and it hurts. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? An 8, right? It's an 8. And they'll put on their side the severity index of what they feel after assessing you, the urgency that you need to be treated, and how much they're trusting what you're saying, because they're either going to put you ahead of somebody, they're going to put you in a severity. It's called the severity something index, right? This is
in the article. In the article, did they confirm how they verified that?
How they verified what specifically, Sword?
So they have a checklist. They have a checklist.
What if?
Did they confirm? Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, what if the triage nurses, they've worked for 20 years, they know. Like someone in the chat made a great point, Trav. Is this their 4th visit to the ER this month, saying they have an 8 on the pain scale? Are they a junkie trying to get a quick hit? Like that. What if they notice trends and they happen to notice that there's a lot more Hispanics that come in and do that than white people? Like, there could be other factors. You can't always just default to the triage nurses are racist. They don't like Black people.
Yeah, but the problem though with this study, though, Beaver, 1 second. The problem with the study though is that the cases where the nurses gave them low priority and didn't trust them, they ended up having the severe and the same symptoms as somebody who was white, Asian, or Hispanic.
So let me tell you,
That can still be explained by that, though.
Beaver, no.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, that doesn't counter my point.
Wait, hold on. This is the question. This is the question I wanted. Hold on, brother. Hold on. No, man. This is the question I wanted to ask. In the article, how did they confirm what the example that you guys just gave? How did the article articulate how they confirmed that?
That severity.
If somebody said that my pain was an 8, but the doctor wrote down 7 or 6 or whatever, no, it's not about hate. I'm doing what you said you do. I'm investigating the
It was
numbers.
discretionary, sword. That's
Why even ask
that's
them
the
their-
point of the study.
Look, he's telling you
That was.
do
you hear me, sir?
They're wrong.
No, I'm not saying that they're wrong, you stupid nigga. What I'm asking is how did they confirm it?
This is a free checklist. There's a free. My mother. and my
Bro, I'm
grandmother
talking
always
about the
say,
article.
It's a checklist.
Oh my god,
I'm
bro.
telling you how they do it.
Like if Sword walks into
What I'm not
Beavis,
getting it.
if Sword
Nigga,
walks
you
into
ain't
Beavis
listening.
room,
I'm asking about the
Beavis
people
said
who
that
wrote
he
the
did.
article. How did they confirm this? It's not about the people that's in the hospital. Let's say if the event took place. Okay, cool. Oh my god, bro.
Sword walks into Beavis room. Beavis says 8. Sword goes back and writes down 5. How did they confirm that Sword wrote down 5?
Because they have a computer system where they have to do the pre-checks.
So
How did-
so the nurse writes down
Yes.
8. So the nurse writes, the patient says 8, but it's really only a 5.
Yes, in the initial checkup, that's what they ask when they talking to you and not you people are writing shit down. That's what they're doing.
No, it's not.
Okay,
They're not
hold on,
rewriting.
wait, hold on. Because now, see, you're not even listening to your own fucking argument. Because if you check the computer system, there's only one number in there. That's the 5. So did they go back to the nurse, or did they go back to the patient and ask?
No, you're missing.
That's
What they're saying. It's
Oh
a
my
different
God.
number, Sword. If they say that they experience this pain, right, and it's an 8 or something, they put them on a severity index scale. It's something different than the number that they've provided. The
I
nurse.
understand that,
Right,
Bino.
so it's-
What I'm asking is, how did the people that did the research, that put the 250,000 number together, they're saying that when the people went into the hospital, they gave the nurse one number. Let's say if that number is 10. However, the number that was documented by these nurses was a 5.
Because
Okay.
it's in their file. And it's public. You have to do audits.
But how many numbers is in the file?
How many numbers is in the file? You want
So you're saying if they came in and they said 10, did the nurse write in the file, patient said 10, but I'm going to change it to an 8, but there's 2 numbers.
Right.
I don't know.
No, this is so. If someone came in and said, "I'm experiencing a level 8 pain," right? Then the nurse, the triage nurse, assigns each patient a level or a treatment area. Whether they're a level 1, a level 3, a level 6, a level whatever. And what I'm saying is that they would look, they wouldn't trust, they wouldn't believe them. So they put them in lower acute severity symptoms, lower acute levels or treatment areas when they're at the end, the conclusion ended that they should have been appropriately placed in a different.
So they had to be re-triaged. How many times black people had to be re-triaged versus white people?
A different urgency level.
So for context here,
Or treatment area.
1 through 5.
Your job is to protect
5 level triage tool
is not to racial profiling.
Those
The challenge that you and I have
5 will be
is that we only have humans.
this
We're
is only
doing our strength to protect and serve right. Yet unfortunately,
child
I don't know what's in the
triage. Number 1, they need help immediately. 5 would be, don't worry about them, you're okay. Being, I guess what you're saying is that if someone says, I'm a triage, I mean, they can be passed out, but they're like, I'm a level 1, I'm hurting really bad. And you're saying that the nurse is going back because they're black, they're like, yeah, don't worry about them. We're going to put them at a 5.
Well, something like that, something like that. So, for example, how they compare in this particular study. So, what they did is they looked at black ER patients, white ER patients. Then they said black ER patients that came in that said they experienced chest pains like this, and white emergency patients that came in that experienced chest pains like this. Black patients that came in with abdominal patients that explained this, and white. And they looked at it, and the black patients received less urgent average ESI scores.
It still doesn't answer my question. You're saying that they said Okay, did the nurse document what they said? According to y'all saying that they did it. They only wrote down one number, which was the observation that the nurse felt like the black person was experiencing. So if they only documented one number, which was the observation of the nurse, how do we know that there is a disparity between what they documented versus what the person said?
Because they have to do audits. They already get like audits. That's why you see complete nurse and just actual nurse.
Resolve this conflict by fighting
In that
one-on-one.
situation,
I accept.
one like the first person you see is the person
Much respect how big that is, but I
actually what's the question you give whatever you give is the person that knows it.
First person to be triaged. The idea of being triaged.
The first person to be triaged.
This shit every single fucking
I just found out that
some conversations are frequency for people that's not really gonna go for this. I take care of my purse to the slide, they gonna take pictures of this shit. My energy is very good. You have to be careful because you can get so much energy into others, you can pour into others so much that you forget to pour into yourself.
So
And that's
the
when we
nurse,
age,
so
that's when we become dry.
now we have two things, because I'm trying to understand is the people who conducted the research, is this the same methodology that they use? So there's two numbers that's documented. The first nurse documents a number, the second nurse documents a number, and those two numbers are different, and that's how they came up with the disparity.
Yes.
And you're sure that that's what they use?
From what she's saying, from the fact that she's reading on, whatever she's reading on, that's how it goes in the actual, that's how it usually goes. Now that's how it goes in general. All hospitals up here, I guess I don't know where like that's the basic standard. That's what they do.
Let's let KP describe the process. How do you do it?
Once you walk in, soon you come to the ED, whichever you want to call it, depends on your state. Most of us, we call it ED. Walk in, see you have a down patient. Come in, sit down in a chair. What's your name? Nobody lies about that shit. Because guess what? If you get caught on lying, that's your license. You're caught.
From my island.
So that's bullshit. What this lady is saying. That's bullshit.
I didn't say that they didn't write down. I'm saying they assigned them an ESI number. Do you know what that is? Can you explain to the room what an ESI number is?
You tell me what an ESI is. So you don't tell me no ESI. What's your pain level? I've been doing this shit for 40 years, okay?
For the rule, the ESI is an emergency severity index, ranked from 1 to 5. Specifically in triage emergency. Do people generally over-exaggerate the pain in your...
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially if
Because you have drug seekers.
Let me just clear up this argument and completely. The pain level from 0 to 10 is generally considered unreliable. When comparing one person's pain to another person's pain, it's considered unreliable. So what KP just said, people come in, they might say, oh my God, my pain is a 10. 10 for, so you know, because I've had hospital people tell me this. If you're just sitting there, someone puts their foot on your armpit and tears off your arm, that's a 10. So I guarantee most of the time what you're feeling is probably 4 or 5, maybe a 6 if you're lucky, in terms of what the medical community actually thinks your pain is.
See, you about to go
But for context here, guys, Alan, this whole study is completely subjective. And let's just remember, the goal of CRT is whenever there's a disparity, you assume it's because of race, and then you find the reasons to confirm them. It has nothing to do with reality. Just for context.
Okay, so the white supremacist spoke, but the white supremacist was not aware that this was a retro. Hold on, white supremacist.
All right, wait, hold on. Don't call out the white supremacist. That's very rude.
He is. I'm sorry. I believe that. So this is the thing. This is the thing, white supremacist. White supremacist.
Beavis, seriously, don't do that.
Yeah, Beavis, don't start.
I think it's more offensive. How are you more offended of you calling Alan a white supremacist by him diminishing a study that it's a retrospective study that is letting us know how Black Americans are so like this is
by the way, Beavis, just so
All right. You can call me from what that's true. You're a wrong person.
Yeah, by the way,
Hold on. Bima, can you put the study in the chat? Hold on for a second, please. Bima, if there's a phone number on there, I'm gonna call those people tomorrow. I'm gonna talk to them. So can you put the study in the chat?
For context in the room, Beavis not talking about if the nurse goes to a patient. Hold on, buddy. Now they're not talking about like if the nurse goes to a patient and asks for a patient. She's talking about triage, like you go to the ER. There's only 1 through 5, and the person doesn't tell the nurse triage. The nurse decides for themselves. Level 1 is like cardiac arrest, like major trauma, like you've been shot, shit like that. Level 2 is like you're having a stroke, or like you're having a respiratory disaster, or a heart attack, shit like that. Level 3 would be like you're in a little bit of pain, but you're stable. It's not too urgent. And level 4 and 5 is like yeah, you need to sit down immediately. So what Bima's saying is that the nurses are determining this themselves. It's not like they're asking the patient's saying I'm in pain, the nurse is changing the thing. I think Bima's saying the nurses are racially discriminating, saying, well, if you're black, it's probably not as bad as you think it is. And if you're white,
Bullshit.
it'd be that bad, but great.
And then for the guy that said,
It's bullshit, by the
if
way.
you call it a 10, and you can call it a 10, that means somebody stepping on your shoulder and ripping it out of the socket. You go in there, you tell them, if I'm saying call, you tell them it's a 10, they're not automatically assuming in the doctor world that you done fucking did some, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? With that crazy. So there's context into, it's not just a random number, bro. And you're giving, and then also, again, what Mike just said is exactly true. It's exactly right. Is that what you're saying is that the severity level to what the natural was ran, but the number that was ran down to the severity level was actually lower.
Yeah,
But if Mike is right, then he did.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mike.
This happens in real life.
But let me just give a quick example. I took my brother to the ER. I've taken him a few times for kidney stones. He knows to tell them he's having chest pains. If you tell the triage nurse you're having chest pains, they will take you back faster and he will get the pain medication faster and end his suffering. But if you don't tell them that, you will sit in the ER and suffer until they can see you because kidney stones cannot kill you, but chest pains can, so they get priority. So if you lie, which he did, and tell me you have chest pains, they will see you right away, then they will give you the pain, and then it will pass. So that's how that's one way it can apply. So maybe they would believe a white person over a black person. I don't know. But go ahead.
Beaver, this happened to me. This happened to me. I went to the ER one time. I felt like I was moving some shit, and my shit got real fucked up, right? I felt like I pulled a muscle, but I was like having a hard time breathing. I was like, whoa. Like, and my wife's like, just fucking go. I didn't want to go, but she was like, just fucking go. So I went, right? It was late at night. Well, I was there, checked me in, did all my stuff, sitting down, and this guy comes in. All fucking weirdo, bro. It's dramatic, talking about can't breathe, there's a dude nurse, he sits at his desk, he's like, alright, sit down. Not even taking the back, alright, sit down. And then he's like, he gets back up, I gotta do it. The guy takes him in the back, reads his vitals, alright, sit down. And that guy's causing all this commotion, right? And so I get up, I kind of go to the guy's desk, I'm like, man, you want to take him back for me? Like, I'm okay, I'm not in a lot of pain. And
And the nurse looks at me, he goes, "Hey man, the Charles is a motherfucker. You're going next." The dude that came in there all tweaking out, it's because he didn't have any drugs. He wanted to just give him some pain meds. So he's just looking to go to the ER, have him take him to the back, give him some fucking pain meds so he can lay there and go to sleep for the next fucking 5 hours.
That thing that happens.
And the nurse knew that, so the nurse took me first.
Yeah.
Faces by first name basis. They always do. They see people all the time.
Yes, we know these motherfuckers.
But here's the thing. That's not the majority. It's not the majority. Every nurse out there, I hear about this nurse all the time. My grandmother and from my mother, they know them first name basis and facial. No matter, you can tell even if you're not that nurse what's going on. But in the context, yes, but that's not. It's that's a very small number. That's not even really impacting the overall number.
Yeah, but if a black guy came in with a gunshot wound, they would have taken the black guy for me.
Of course.
Right, but
Fucking GSW.
that's outside of that's a number on the other side. That's not included in the percentages because meaning that it's on the other side of the percentage. That's it's not in the percentage of that's when things go right. It's not when things go wrong. It's the percentage of when things.
Well, that was an unfair comparison. You're right. That was an unfair comparison.
But see,
We gonna take a GSW over a fucking broke ankle.
but we
We gonna
getting
take
far,
GSW.
we getting far away from the origin of what the article was reporting. So if we're saying that, well, let me back up. Alan, my bad, I apologize. Did you want, I want to let you go first and then I'll go ahead.
You're right, Thor. They're saying they're fudging the numbers. Good help.
You there, Alan?
Yeah, yes. Alan.
It's just wild. Now black people should be in trouble. Now black people can't go to the hospital. They're
But
So-
every fucking
nuts.
Riley, I want to,
even ice go to the doctor. So you know, it's like,
Riley,
I'll tell you what's really fucked up is reading through this study. I work in an inner city hospital. Okay? It's bullshit, this study. It's bullshit. Bullshit. Maybe some small rural area. Racist ass hospital in the middle of motherfucking
It
Egypt
wasn't
or some shit.
one hospital, okay? It was multiple.
Stated that black women do not have pain. Isn't that correct?
see,
Say again?
hold on, we have to confirm. So now we're talking about methodology, which is kind of what I was getting at the whole time. If somebody, if you're leaving it up to the nurse to make a, if you're leaving it up to the nurse to make a judgment call, and that's the only number that the interaction is going off of, how do we attribute that to racism?
What they did was they used, so yeah, and it, like I said, if you don't want to call it racism, no matter what we call it, you can't, there's definitely a racial disparity here. Like this is purely racial, the evidence, right? This is a retrospective study that's done. So you can call it what you want. But what they did was they took all of the white patients and they used that as the guide, right? And then they took Black, Hispanic, Asian, and they compared them. Came in, they gave, there was a categories, right, that they gave, 5 categories, like heart, chest pain, shortness of breath, I forget the other one, vomiting, abdominal pain, nausea, stuff like that, okay?
And how many people
then-
did they look
and-
at?
Hold on, 250,000.
Okay, that is wrong. I
Okay,
just
so-
looked it up.
So you could,
It was 222 medical students. It was mock scenarios. It
okay, yeah,
wasn't
that's a different
real-life
study. That's a different
scenarios.
study. No, this is
No,
real. This is
it's
a
a
retrospect.
landmark
Alan,
study.
I'm talking about a
Landmark
different study. Alan, we're talking about different studies, honey.
Yeah,
We're
what
listen to
study
what
are
I'm
you
saying.
talking about?
I'm talking about the study that's called, let's see what it says. That's what they called it. From the Western Journal of Emergency Medicine, racial differences in triage for emergency department patients.
And where was it done?
This was done over
And I can guarantee you, ma'am,
multiple hospitals, and
if you would like, I will fly you
No, I'm looking at the
right to my office.
2016
you can sit
University
there.
of Virginia stuff.
Well, I don't like that title
no,
though.
that's not
I don't
what-
like
that's
that
not-
title, but there
that's
is a
not
disparity. There is a disparity though. But that title means it uses that word racial, but it's just saying white versus black, situations essentially. But I don't like that word. She said racist. That's not what they're trying to say. But I understand what she was trying to say, like bias and the differences when it comes to the numbers that they were trying to. I don't like how they.
But it says racial though, right?
Man, I would fly you to my office. You can see the shit, and you would understand it's no racial bias.
Hold up. The context is for the title because it's just a title, right? It's meant to, if you don't see it, the context is what happens in the white what happens in the white and African American, how it differs. That's the context of the title.
Have you read the article?
It's not talking about. She said it.
Have you read it article?
No, I have not read that.
Okay, so you're
But I
speaking.
have family in
Oh my
facilities.
God, bro!
2 generations and more.
You literally making this shit up.
Bro, you don't know nothing. You just assuming shit.
I don't know. That's the reason why I'm asking. That's the reason why I'm asking. I'm asking because I don't know.
Preferential treatment based on urgency.
You ask questions when you don't know. You don't sit back and eat popcorn because that's how you end up in the hospital.
Preferential treatment based on urgency.
There you
ever been in there?
There you go.
I'm asked no because the question is this is the reason y'all keep getting hung up on this, and I'm trying to figure out how understanding this. Y'all said in the beginning that the nurse would hear a different number and then write down a different number.
For 2 different things, Sword. They're 2 different, and it's not. But you understand that, right? No, because you're repeating that. Here, can I give you the breakdown again? Because they're not writing down a different number of pain.
I would like to read
saying.
the article myself because for some reason I'm finding it very.
Well, I keep explaining this to you, and I don't know why I keep going back to them rewriting a different number. That's not that's not what happened.
This is how y'all frame. This is how y'all
You
frame
sit there and lie in charting.
People walked
Oh
in.
my God!
If you lie in charting,
crazy.
that is your ass.
There is no
You're
lies. Hold on. Do you guys understand no lies?
Y'all
This has
literally
nothing-
just
0
changed
lies.
the whole
This
thing.
is
Lima, you
no
said the
lies.
patient
This
would
has
say
to
one thing
do
and
with credibility. This has to do with the belief of the credibility of the
Oh my
patients.
God.
That's what this entire study is on.
Okay, you come
Is
in there.
based on.
Just,
So when
Yeah,
somebody comes in and they say that they are experiencing something, then the nurse assigns the ESI, and even with the same exact symptoms of white patients that they gave, okay, for their initial assessment, they got an ESI of low acuity of it was called like fast track low, there was middle, and then there was high acuity area, right?
and you know why? Because we just spoke about a lot of.
But the issue was that the problem was that the conclusion was that they ended up the Black Americans, while they were significantly placed in the low acuity, they ended up having the same issues that should have placed them properly in a higher acuity level initially.
What's the name of that
Should have been,
All
and
the drug
this is so
seekers with the white
based on the
You gotta
discretion
take that into
of the
accountability.
nurse doing the ESI.
This is what happens when you're trying to find racism where there's no racism.
Bro, because in the
What are you
beginning,
talking
she was
about? Everybody's
because
We
ignoring
have to
what's
take
happening.
accountability of the
Bema.
white drug seekers and the black drug seekers that's in that study. When you come in here,
And I
know you by your fucking first name because guess what? You want that 5-hour high.
Bema, when you were talking in the beginning, I don't know if you recall this or recognize what you were saying, but you literally were using the term trust. You said
Yes,
that
correct.
the nurses, okay, correct. So now when you use terminology like that, now I have to look at the person who's conducting the audit to confirm. How did you come to the conclusion? The audit person wasn't there. So how did you come to the conclusion that there was a trust issue when you were not there?
Right, so I
How
can
are you
explain.
qualified?
I'll explain.
So
I'll try to explain one more time, okay? So this was a retrospective. So what they did was
What
they
was the
pulled,
name of the study,
they
please?
pulled, Alan, please, I already read it. I'll just be patient.
Put it in the
So
chat.
they pulled the 250,000 files from 250,000 patients across 7 hospitals. Okay, so when first they have to have it needed to be an ER visit, right? So specifically there were ER visits. Then they look at the recorded race, the age, the gender, the arrival, the complaint, and the disposition. Then, okay, and that is what the patient told the nurse. Then the nurse records the ESI, and the nurse puts that patient in an ESI of either initial low, middle, high placement. And then they recorded whether those patients later ended up requiring high acuity care. So then they grouped them and they put them study to study, Black, Asian, Hispanic, white. When they came in and they had this complaint with this disposition, they put white people, Hispanics and Asians, in high acuity placement when they put in ESI, while the nurse put Black patients in initial low acuity. However, those Black, and the only ones that mattered were the studies that when the patient left, they ended up also requiring the high acuity care. Okay.
Now, thank you. So now this still leads to more questions. Okay. Well, no, because it's funny that when y'all actually took the time to listen, you can actually answer the question. We could have got here a long time ago. Now, my next question is for the white people in that test. Did they have to receive higher care than what they were originally categorized as? Was there any change in their classification?
They were used as the baseline. White patients were used as the baseline.
So you don't know.
No, I'm saying that white patients were used as a baseline. So Hispanic and Black Americans were based off of what they received for this